this video is going to demonstrate the fan and V-stitch in crochet. We create this stitch over a multiple of 8 stitches plus 1. And then we're going to add an additional 1 for our base chain. So I'm starting for our swatch here with 18 chains. We're going to start by single crocheting into the second chain from the hook. And then our first fan is going to be made up of 9 double crochets. So we're going to skip 3 stitches, 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th from where our current stitch placement is, we're going to put 9 double crochets. All right, 9 full double crochets into that stitch. And then we're going to skip another 3 chains. Gotta get close here to see. 1, 2, 3. And then we're gonna single crochet there. And that is our first row motif. We're going to separate those very large fans, the 9 stitch fans, with a single crochet. And then we're going to skip 3 more, and do another 9. Moving on to our row 2, we've turned our work and we are going to chain 3, which will count as a double crochet. Then we'll double crochet into that first stitch. And then chain 5. We're going to skip this entire double crochet group and we're going to work a V-stitch, which is a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the single crochet that separates those two. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. We'll chain 5 again. I'm going to skip over this, and then, since this is our last stitch, and we're going to double crochet twice into our single crochet at the end. And move on to row 3. Okay, so we've got our first and second rows here. You see we've got this, those chain 5s are just kind of hanging here. We are going to work row 3 and essentially attach rows 1 and 2 together with that. So we'll start row 3 by chaining 3. And working 4 double crochets into that same stitch. chain 3 counts. So it's like having 5 or half of our fan here. Next, we're going to work a single crochet, but we're going to work it into the center point. So the 5th double crochet from row 1, we're going to work there and work a single crochet over the chain 5. So it's going to kind of stick those together like that. So as you can see in row 3, we are building and filling in sort of the areas between these two large fans. So between the V-stitch here, we're going to then work our 9 double crochets. Then again, we're going to find the 5th double crochet from our first row. It's right there. And we're going to single crochet into that stitch and over the chain 5 from row 2 to anchor it down. And you can see the pattern starting to emerge here. We've got our fans and the V's that fit right in to the center of it. And in our last stitch here, we're then going to double crochet 5. We'll move on to row 4, but before we do that, you can see we've just started with our pattern emerging here. We've got our fan stitches here, our V's in the center, and then other fan stitches building. So we'll continue this method of building, and row 4 is going to be quite a bit like row 2. So we're going to chain 3. We're going to skip these 5 double crochets, and into this single here we'll work a V stitch, which is that double crochet, chain, double crochet, and then we will chain 5 and skip over our full fan. And then we're going to V stitch into the single crochet, and when we're ending this row, we're going to actually slip stitch into the top of the turning chain from the previous row and turn. Row 5 will set up the last row of our base, and then the remainder of the motif repeats from rows 2 to 5. So for row 5, we will just chain 1. We're going to single crochet over that slip stitch that we made. And then we'll create our fan here in the middle of our V with the 9 double crochets. Next we will single crochet over the 5th stitch here in our fan, and including this chain 5 to kind of bind those rows together. And then we'll continue with our 9 double crochets to make our next fan. They get a little tight, as you can see. And then we will work a single crochet into the turning chain here. To complete your fan and V-stitch, you'll just repeat rows 2 through 5 of this sequence. This is our right side here. And especially with some blocking or steaming, this very intricate and cool V pattern comes out very strongly.